the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE came out a couple of years ago, and I want to go and kind of hit on some of the big things that this particular phone has going for it and how it holds up in the middle part of 2024. Now, the big thing I'll probably tell you is that this phone is great. I like this phone a lot, but if you can swing for the flagship this phone is based off, like the S21 or the S22, S23, those phones are going to be significantly better. And the fact that this phone can't really be purchased in the brand new market anymore means that there's probably other phones out there that are probably making more sense to buy than this particular device. So take that as you will. If you want to pick it up for some cheap links that I can find, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE, this particular phone, in a lot of different ways in my personal opinion, still looks very good. You're getting a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display on the front. It's 1080p 120Hz, and it is for sure a very good looking panel. I do think if you're going to go through and buy any particular device, this thing still looks pretty good, and I don't really have that much to complain about here when it comes down to kind of the way this particular phone looks and holds up, at least from the exterior. I think that's a very, very cool thing going on for this particular device. It still has a hole punch display, on the bottom USB Type-C port, no expandable storage or anything, but you're getting an aluminum frame on this thing, which is actually pretty nice. On the back side, you're getting a frosted plastic back on the back of this particular phone, which for some people is probably totally fine. I will probably tell you, in my personal opinion, it's probably nice to have a better, type of, back feeling than this thing, but it's still perfectly fine probably for the average person. A triple camera setup on the back side. You're getting wireless charging, reverse wireless charging as well. And overall, it's a pretty decent phone. I definitely do think on the exterior, besides the plastic back, it's not a terrible feeling device. And I do think if I'm going to go through and buy a phone, this thing definitely is not a bad device when it comes down to it, at least from the exterior, even though it has a plastic back. Beyond that though, there are a few other things to kind of keep in mind here. So for one, the software perspective. Although this phone is still getting software support, it's still here, there's not anything going wrong with this particular phone as of this point. A big thing to keep in mind with this particular device is the fact that the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE and this type of phone, it's not going to be lasting for many more years to come. It's pretty much based off the S21's performance and chipset and everything. So because of that, you're going to be kind of stuck in this weird situation where this phone really isn't going to be getting the longest lasting software support ahead of it. And I would hate for you to go and buy a phone like this if it's already going to be outdated with software. And I'm not saying this thing is going to be outdated with software just yet, but there is a very high likelihood where some of these things could end up happening. So I would hate for you to go and kind of get this type of device and kind of already run into that type of problem. But that, again, is a very high likelihood with this particular device. So again, keep that in mind. Not the biggest deal in the world, but just one of those small things to kind of keep in mind there. In terms of performance, this device is still, kind of hanging up there. It has that Snapdragon 888 chipset inside with 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM inside of it. And I definitely do think, as I mentioned before many, many times, if you're going to go through and get a device like this, the performance of this particular phone is still very, very decent. I still feel like Samsung does a really good job with these types of phones. And whenever I'm going through and buying a device, I really do think for the most part, Samsung does a really good job with these types of phones. And even now till the end of time, these devices are going to be holding up very well. And that's a very nice thing going on for these types of phones. So although they're not perfect phones, I do think if I'm going through buying a device for the most part, Samsung does a really good job with them. And I still think in a lot of different ways, they're still, from a performance side, they're still holding up there very, very well. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is, I do think the S21 FE is still worth buying in some ways, but if you can, like I said before, this phone's not going to be lasting forever. You're much better off purchasing a Samsung Galaxy S22 or an S23, especially an S24, rather than this particular device. So take that as you will, but that's kind of how I see this particular device holding up in 2024, at least in the middle part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.